Shabbat shalom, man. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. Another Freestyle Friday, man. Hopefully this is edifying, man. Hopefully this will help somebody in their relationship with the brothers of the hopeful elect. Here to try to make our calling and election sure so we can be a part of that elect number that's called in the end days, the end times. Right? We want to say shalom to the 12 tribes, the commandment keepers, the believers, and shalom to the cleavers that want to cleave on to the house of Jacob, the house of Israel. We give all glory and honor. This video is made for the benefit and the use of the kingdom of the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. And that nation is Israel. Today's lesson is entitled Ministry of Reconciliation. It's a mouthful. Ministry of Reconciliation, right? We're going to talk about being reconciled, right? I got one video for us today after we play the blowing of the shofar, and then I got some precepts. Y'all know how we do it, right? Freestyle Friday. Let me share my screen. Let's get started. Let's get active. Let me find the shofar on the page. Do I want the short? I'll go to the short today. If I can find it. You know, shameless plug-in, showing y'all some videos we got on the page. You know, we active. I'm gonna start. Why it always do that? It always do that, man. Now I gotta scroll all the way and find it. Come on, man. You know, for those that don't know, you know, whenever we go out to camp, man, we had a brother Obadiah on the screen blow that shofar, man. So just like we do it on the street, we do it on the lesson. Shalom to our mighty scribe, right? The brother Baruch, right? Shalom to that brother, man. He gonna be in the chat scribing for us. The mighty office of the scribe, just like our ancestor Baruch. So shout out to him, right? Y'all see it on the screen right here, brother Baruch. You can see it too if you want, you know what I'm saying? Just a heads up. This is the order we're gonna be moving in tonight. This is the order we're gonna be moving in. These are the precepts, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tenfold. We got a perfect amount of precepts tonight, man. They should go by quick though, right? So I'm gonna play this video I found on Instagram of these brothers. They having a little men's night. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brothers that be having men's night, man. Men need it, man. So this is a good page, man. It's called the Good Dad Tribe. The Good Dad Tribe, fellas. If you want some positive content on your algorithm, on your timeline, you can follow these guys, man. They bring up a lot of good topics to talk about. This one, they're talking about being separated and divorce, right? So hence the title of this lesson. The title of this lesson is called what? Ministry of Reconciliation. And they're going to talk about separating, divorce, whose fault is it? What is a man's role? They're going to talk about that, right? So fair use, our thoughts and comments on this content. We're the hopeful elect. Let's get into it.
Who is about to make that decision? You ain't made it yet.
Yeah.
You can go through another year of therapy, another year of prayer, another year of anything, counsel from your community. I would rather you do that and make sure.
I had my uncle the first time that we actually separated. He brought me into a room and basically said, if this marriage ends, it's your fault.
He said, if this marriage ends, it's your fault. It's the man's fault, man. I agree with that.
You know, this is funny, man, because I was literally in the gym while I was running today. I was looking on the screen and they had, I don't know if it was The View or whatever, but Young Jeezy's ex-wife was on there, the Asian chick. And, huh?
I thought they were still married.
Nah, they got divorced. They got divorced like 2 years ago. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, you know, she really famous because of her husband, just like a lot of these women. But I was thinking, like, man, you got your own talk show host. You your own talk show host. And it's like, why should we listen to anything you have to say? Because, like, in my mind, when I'm looking at people that get divorced and stuff like that, it's like, bro, you're equivalent to a quitter, a cheater, somebody that takes shortcuts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why am I listening to what you got to say? You didn't need, you quit on something. You're a quitter, bro. You're a quitter. And then, like the brother Azrael just said, if you were to say something like that to her, she would blame it on the husband. And I would tell her, hey man, hey, he's a quitter too. You know what I'm saying? And I tell it to his face, but it does fall back on the man. Ultimately, it takes two to tango. It takes two to pick up that pen and sign them papers. You know what I'm saying? But it is, I think, more so on the man for letting the household fall apart, right? But
yeah, we live in a society where bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. So people want to hear from real people. Oh, I like watching her because she real. Oh, I like watching him because he keep it real. And what real is to them is sin. That's all it is, right? They want to listen to someone because, your flesh wants to divorce. Your flesh wants to commit adultery. Your flesh wants to do sin. So they want to listen to people that keep it real, meaning they want to listen to people that talk about they sometimes give into their flesh. So they don't want to listen to somebody that's perfectly married, right? They don't want to listen. They want to listen to somebody that got divorced, that, struggle, because they can connect with them. Yeah, you just get me, girl. Yeah, she gets you because she was a sinner just like you. You need to be talking to somebody that beat the odds, somebody that is better than you. But the thing is, a lot of times in today's society is we shut off the people that are better than us because we feel like we're not worthy to be around them, or we feel like they are snobby, or they are too, or they just feel like that's how they feel. But we have to change our mindset on that, and we have to start chasing after success, not chasing after failure and familiarity, right? People like people because they're familiar with them. People go to church under pastors that cheated on their wife because they cheated on their wife. So they be like, man, my pastor keep it real though. We all human though. No, you need a pastor that's not going to cheat on his wife. That's what you need. You don't need something that's familiar because you'll stay the same, right? It's a good point though.
Yeah, he said it is your fault because it is your job to lead. And when you lead, it doesn't mean to be domineering. Sometimes leading means strictly just submitting.
So we're going to get into that too. A lot of men don't think that we should submit to our women. Submitting to your wife is a little different from her submitting to you, but nonetheless, it's still submission, right? When we look at Christ, he laid down his life. He submitted to the church and he submitted to his father, right? But he laid down his life for his friends. That's submitting his life to them. You know what I'm saying? But we still see that the church submits to him in all things. Whenever they have a question, they ask him. Whenever they need direction, they ask him. They follow him. They become disciples of him, ministers of him, right? So we see that there's two different types of submissions. Nonetheless, there's still submission. So men, there is a level of submission that you owe your wife.
Learning how to be a partner, learning how to sacrifice, being edifying. Yeah,
it's tough. I say that all the time. I wouldn't.
So I want to say too, with that submission, you got to think, you submit yourself. If you're in a church or a camp or a congregation, right? you submit yourself to those brothers that you be with all the time. You said you would tell them that you would die for them, right? You'll hear them out, you know what I'm saying? You'll give them advice. You'll want to get to know them, the inside and out of their life and stuff like that for the brotherhood. So why wouldn't you do that for your wife? Why wouldn't you want to get to know your wife and how she feels about certain things, and how your wife reacts to certain things? And why wouldn't you want to pick her brain? And why wouldn't you want to know your wife, right? And that's a lot of times that's why the divorce occurs, because men don't take the time to get to know their wife. We know that in the Bible, knowing somebody sometimes can be synonymous with laying down with them, but also get to know them, bro. Like a lot of us, we make decisions, and those decisions cause our wives to spiral out of control because we don't know our wives. We don't know how they would act, and we don't stop to consider how they would act or how they would think or what they would do. We just do it and expect them to be okay, but they're humans at the end of the day too, right? You got to be able to know your personnel.
Be this dad had I not lost my family being together all the time, had I not lost a career that was to anybody else's eyes was exceptional. Like I wouldn't be this person. I wouldn't have been able to realign my priorities in the way I did as a result of loss. It's nothing is as significant as you think it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Facts.
Nothing is as significant as you think it is.
Right, man. I've talked to a lot of brothers when they're in the midst of their situation, and I tell them the same thing. Like, bro, you know, this feeling might one day pass. Like, you might not feel like this all the time. Like I know you may feel like you in prison, or I know you may feel like you're not being loved, or sister, I know you may feel like, you know, he don't like you. You just feel like a bed wench. You know what I'm saying? I know how you feel, but feelings fade, man. You know what I'm saying? Give it some time, because before you know it, you might make a decision that will alter the rest of your life. And now you guys is living in turmoil. Now y'all living in hell. Now there's because of certain decisions made, certain consequences happen. And now next thing you know, y'all done did some stuff to where you can't reconcile no more. You did some forgivable things. So you got to sometimes weigh out the moment and understand that this moment will pass. I'm not going to always feel angry. I'm not going to always feel mad. I'm not going to always feel sad. We're not going to always hate each other, bro. There's going to be times where we're going to laugh again, but people can't see into the future for some reason. And people make decisions based on the right now.
You're going to put a lot of weight on issues that are going to cause this negative discourse between the two of y'all. And you're going to look back and be like, he could have missed that one practice. Because me fighting about that one practice lasted 2 months. He could have missed that one practice.
Yeah.
Like it's tough. I say that all the time.
And what he means by like miss that one practice is like, say that you really want your son to play football or basketball, or you want him to do boxing, and you get so into it. He's like, he can't miss practice. They're going to cut back on his playing time. But your wife really wants to go to Disney World. Your wife, you know, she booked this trip for the family to go to this restaurant, right? Or your wife, you know, she wants to do some, and you said, nah, screw that. Nah, we're going to practice. So, you know,
kids, it might be you. Maybe you on an adult men's league. You know,
yeah, you may sign up to do something yourself.
And
right?
she thinking this Negro too old. He's not going to the NFL. He's not going to the NBA, but he'd rather go to a practice, not a game, but a practice versus staying at home with me.
Right. You know, and sometimes men can get
head movements, man.
You lagging, bro. But sometimes, you know, men, man, we can kind of get passionate about hobbies and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we can let our hobbies become more important than what they actually are, because we have to understand that family is more important than our hobbies, you know, at the end of the day. I was saying you were lagging because, like, as I would talk, you would just come in out of nowhere while I'm talking. And I could tell it's because you thought I stopped talking. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, like, your voice and your mouth and everything, it looks fine, but I'm saying our connections
delayed.
Yeah. Our connections are delayed. But Con, man, Yeah, man. So that's a point, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that practice, sometimes that meeting, sometimes if you can push it back, man, you gotta think, like, is it worth my marriage? And you know, some men they don't care, man. They'll say, man, you know,
Wouldn't be this dad had I not lost my family being together all the time. Had I not lost a career that was to anybody else's eyes was exceptional.
mm. And I was telling this to somebody I can't remember, man. Another point, right? A lot of times when you see the stereotypical dad that's in his son or his daughter's life, and he's always playing with them, he's always taking them to events and always doing stuff. He's the stand-up dad. A lot of times it's because of what this man just said. He wouldn't have become the dad that he is today if he didn't lose it all. A lot of those dads are playing catch up. They're trying to come back into their kids' lives. They're trying to come back into their girl life. So they're trying to do everything they can to make up for lost time, make up for bad decisions. A lot of times you'll see the men that are still married, right? A lot of times you'll see them, they're more a little bit laid back, you know what I'm saying? Because they're always there. But those dads, and that's the thing about not being prudent is when you make those hasty decisions, man, you're gonna feel bad and you're gonna spend all your life trying to get it back, right? Not saying it's bad for him to do that because he's trying to reconcile, but you could save yourself a lot of stress, right, and anxiety if you just don't make the hasty decision in the first place.
Obadiah has something.
Oh, you had something to say?
Con, y'all was gonna say like that episode on Fresh Prince. Will Daddy had came around, and at first, he was happy to see his dad and things like that. His dad was trying to make up for lost time and things like that. But something came up and he had to leave, and that kind of hurt Will. But to your point, he should have, whatever it was, a job or whatever, that kind of he should have thought, well, this my son, right? This my son. How would he feel if I left him? I said that we was gonna go. I think he said they were gonna go fishing or something. Or they finna go somewhere. Will had already got packed up and stuff, ready to go. Then his dad say something came up, we got to go. So like, they go back to that point that you were saying, man.
Yeah, and even when you're looking at that, man, Uncle Phil, he ain't have to take him fishing. He ain't have to do all of that because he was always there. He was there for every emotion. He was there if he needed him. He didn't have to do extra credit, right? But whenever you mess up, man, you feel like you have to do extra credit, right? And that extra credit is going to be taxing. So, just, being prudent so you don't have to put yourself in positions to where you have to stress yourself out. And it all starts with being a leader. It all starts with you being a man and not letting things fall apart.
I wouldn't be this person. I wouldn't have been able to realign my priorities in the way I did as a result of loss. But I would tell any brother who is about to make that decision, you ain't made it yet.
Yeah.
If you can go through another year of therapy, another year of prayer, another year of anything, counsel from your community, I would rather you do that and make sure, because if you ever have any doubt about this decision, Lord, it's gonna tear you apart.
Yeah, man. And the thing about it is this. The thing about it is every person that's finna get a divorce, they have doubt. They may be one of the parties may be excited, but trust me, there's still doubt there. Should I do this? Especially when you get kids involved, right? So one thing about it, that doubt is a conscience. That doubt is the spirit saying, hey, it's not worth it. Don't do it. But a lot of people put that doubt out, that way of escape out, and then they experience so much pain and hurt, right? Let's get the first precept in 1 Corinthians 7:5.
Speaking of Will Smith, buddy on the far left, he kind of favored Will Smith.
His head a little more. I don't know. I see what you're saying though.
See it? You see it out?
I see it a little bit. I got eyes to see a little bit on that.
But you got ears to hear though.
Lord, I would hope so. But let's get this first precept, man. 1 Corinthians 7:5.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number 5. It says, defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
Come on, man. So this is going into not resisting each other's intimate affection. That's what it's going into when it says defraud ye not one another, right? But it also going into something deeper than that, because this is how reconciliation is always set up, right? Not only with sex, right, but with relationships in general. When we look at the prodigal son, there was some time away. The dad was fasting and praying, and the son came back together again, right? Now, if you don't come back together in time, that's when Satan will get a hold of you and you'll make some stupid decisions, right? So this is the makeup of reconciliation right here, right? Let's go to verse 10, man. I'm gonna go to verse 10. And
Is my background loud?
nah, you good. But you can read this one too, Denal.
This is 1 Corinthians 7 and 10. It says, and unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband.
So women, they say, I forgot the stats or the statistic, but they say that women are the cause of most divorces now.
Black women.
Huh?
It's black women.
Right. Black women are the cause of most of the divorces in black homes nowadays. But the Lord, he said, not I, but the Lord said, let not the wife depart from her husband. Have you ever had a pair of Nikes in your closet just walk up out of your house? No, them Nikes are your possession. After you bought them, they're gonna stay in your closet. Even if you kind of overweight and them Nikes hate when you put them on, they still they your possession. Did Abigail leave Nabal? No, she didn't. Not until he died. Right? So it says, let not the wife depart from her husband. But what happens is, you get into Babylon and in these Western world societies, and they give women, now this is going to sound bad, how I was going to say it. Let me rephrase it, because I don't want to say that. They liberate women, right, to the point to where there's no guardrails on women. And so women are able to act on their emotions. And that's bad, because when there's a family involved, when there's commitment involved, when there's a marriage and kids involved, you don't want to be ruled by emotions. You want to be ruled by logic. Because one thing about marriage is, and love, it has nothing to do with emotions. It has everything to do with commitment, right? When you're married and when you love somebody, those are actions, and that's a covenant, right? Meaning, whether I hate you or whether I'm angry at you or not, I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna do what's right by you. And because we're married, I'm not gonna leave your side. Good, bad, ugly, right? Let's read verse 11.
Brother Obadiah has something.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
You on mute, King.
Never mind, King. I'll bring it up if it's brought up again. Never mind.
All right. You can read this, Denal.
1 Corinthians 7 and 11. It says, but, and if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife.
Right. So it says, if she does depart, like the prodigal son did, like the nation of Israel did, like the 10 tribes, the northern kingdom did, it says, let her remain unmarried, right? Or be reconciled. Meaning, if you depart from your husband, if you depart from your wife, right? Don't make any hasty decisions while you're departed. Why? Because like the video said, like we mentioned earlier, right? Them feelings may fade and you may be able to reconcile back together. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say, even when you get into the law, right? When it was going, I want to say it might be Deuteronomy 21 and 15. I can't remember. But it made me think about it when you were going into like when you were saying or hate or you dislike your spouse. But when you go into the scriptures, right, chiefly in the law, the Most High was never with divorce. You know what I'm saying? Separation, I mean, for a time, yeah, but in the sense of divorce, like period, like I'm done with you, no. Because even when it says if a man take another wife and if he hates her and she have his firstborn child, he still have to give the inheritance to that woman that he dislike or don't get along with. So that just showed the Most High is with long suffering. He's not with if you hate your spouse to be quick to divorce. No, you still have to move in meekness and y'all still have to deal with each other.
Come on, man. The ministry of reconciliation, man. We gotta be in that spirit of reconciliation. You call yourself teaching the lost sheep. That's the ministry of reconciliation. We're trying to reconcile them back to the Most High, back to the nation, right? You rebuilding households and families, and you taking the scales off the blind. That's the ministry of reconciliation, man. So all this is another facet of that, right? But in relationships, and like the brother Obadiah said, the next part of this precept says, "And let not the husband put away his wife." So men, stop being so hasty to put away your wife, especially when you're young. You know, I get tired of seeing brothers that are not even in their 30s yet put away a wife. You don't know how you're going to think. You don't know how you're not when you get in your 30s, you don't know what your mindset might be like. You may regret the decisions you made. You may be like, man, she was a good one, right? Man, she did a lot for me. Man, why did I mess that up? Right? Them regrets start happening, but you're not supposed to put her away. You're not. Them feelings will fade, brother. Hold on. It's just a storm. Every storm got to pass. The sun gonna come out again, bro. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, a lot of brothers make the mistake of thinking that they can get them another one. You know what I'm saying? Man, I get rid of her and I just give me another one, man. It'd be easy. Not realizing that a lot of times the Most High gave you one of a kind, man. The Most High gave you a woman that was irreplaceable, and you thinking you something that you're not. You make a hasty decision, not knowing that it's gonna make you or leave you miserable. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think to the future, like the brother was saying.
Come on, man. Sometimes that grass, man, you just gotta water it. You know, when you see your neighbor's grass is green, you gotta take a trip to Lowe's or Home Depot, get you some 10-10-10, fertilize that joint, water it, and now your grass is green too. That's all you needed.
Or go to your neighbor, ask them how they got their lawn so green, man. Take
Right.
their advice.
Get some advice, some counsel. You know what I'm saying? It's a cliche proverb, but man, the grass is, not always greener. You might have to water your own grass. You got to love yours. You know what I'm saying? Because like the brother said, man, God may have put y'all together. Y'all laid down together. Y'all had that covenant together for a reason, man. Right? And you got to try to work it out. Isaiah 53:6, brother Obadiah.
Book of Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one his own way. And the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Right? So just like Christ has come to reconcile us back to the Most High, because we walked away. We was that wife that departed. We was that wife that walked away, right? And Satan almost got a hold of us, but now it's time to be reconciled, right? All praises to the Most High God. He woke the remnant, the elect up. We're getting reconciled. We didn't make decisions that would stop us from getting reconciled, meaning we didn't make decisions that caused us to be bugged out or caused us to die at an early age before we could wake up, right? So, we being reconciled. So just like, us, you got to treat your spouse like how the Most High treated us, whether you're a husband or a wife, right? Let's get Ecclesiastes 3:1. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Wake up there, B. Wake up there, B. What's going on? Ecclesiastes 3:1. Let's read it.
Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
Come on, man. So this is what we was talking about, man. Them feelings fade. There's a season for everything. You're gonna have storms, you're gonna have sunshine, you're gonna have rain, you're gonna have springtime, winter time where you feel cold, distant, right? Feel like you're not showing up because of the weather. Then you're gonna have times where you can't get enough of the weather. You outside, baby, you outside, right? And I'm talking about emotionally in your relationship. It's gonna be seasons for everything, but seasons come and go. Highs. If there's a high, there's gotta be a low. You gotta be prepared for it. Then you gotta be prepared to go back up. And you have to be willing to go back up. You have to have a forgiving heart, long suffering, right? Sometimes, it may kill you because you're so heated at your husband. You're so heated at your wife. And that's when you just roll over, give him a hug, give him a kiss, go out, buy him some ice cream or something, do something random. And you have to do the thing that your flesh does not want to do for you to overcome that moment. It takes you being a man, it takes you being a woman, and putting them breeches on, girding up your loins and doing what your flesh don't want to do. Right? It's on your heart to pray for your wife, but you don't want to because you just so irritated with her. You don't think she deserves your prayer. Pray for her. Same thing with the wife. You got to do what your flesh don't want to do, man. And that's how you're going to get to the next season. Go ahead, Obadiah.
We got to think about it like, man, we got to look at it like the Most High, like he don't have to forgive us. He don't have to forgive us. We make him angry. Throughout history, throughout the Bible, Israel made him angry, all throughout the Bible, man. And yet he still showed mercy. So we gotta look at it like we gotta show each other mercy, even though I'm upset with you. And I may make the Most High upset sometimes, but I still want him to hear my cries and forgive me. So we gotta look at each other like that, if you got a spouse.
Man.
My bad.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, it's all about being a man of your word, man. When you get married, you giving your word saying you're gonna be with this person, man. And if you really think about it, nothing is that serious to depart from one another unless it's fornication, man. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's fornication. Fornication, yeah, I can see why somebody want to get up and leave, but the little arguments that you have, even if you have them every single day, it's not big enough for you to separate from this person after you made a commitment and a covenant with this person, right? Because like Brother Obadiah said, how many times were we going back and forth with the Most High, and how many times did we disrespect him and was disobedient to him, and he never put us away, man. So same thing.
Come on, man, and understand that everything happened for a reason, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people are like, no, it was just a mistake, man. I didn't mean to lay down with her, bro, on everything, man. I wasn't thinking. I gave it to my flesh. Who cares, bro? It's too late now. Your flesh won. Now you got to deal with it. Same thing with the sisters. I was blinded by the acting that brother was putting on. Hey, it is what it is now. You done opened up to him. You done laid down with him. And guess what? Maybe the Most High had all that happen for a reason, and y'all was supposed to be together. God don't, this life is not a mistake, man. Everything happens for a reason. So with that being said, you got to be a woman, you got to be a man, and you got to do what's right. You got to submit to commitment. You got to submit to commit. All right, let's read Ecclesiastes 3 and 4.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 4. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance.
Hey, this is going to be a marriage right here, man. There's going to be times where your wife just break out crying. Right? She just break out crying. You don't know why she crying. You don't know what you said, what you did. It's gonna be times where both of y'all laughing. It's gonna be times where you may cry, brothers. You know what I'm saying? It may be times where you may cry, brothers. I know a few brothers that's cried in their relationships or lack thereof after something happened. So, you're going to weep, you're going to cry, you're going to laugh. There are going to be times where you mourn together. I know brothers and sisters that have lost children together and things of that nature. There's going to be times where you mourn. There's going to be time where you dance, right? Yeah, you had the feast day, y'all laughing, you may, saw a TikTok dance and y'all doing the TikTok dance together, or you just doing it and your spouse is laughing at you doing it. It's going to be times throughout your marriage. It's going to be seasons, bro, sis. But you got to stay committed if you want to see through all those seasons, because through all these seasons are all memories and wisdom. And you're going to get something out of each of these seasons, right? And the only way you're going to get each of these seasons is if you stay committed, man. You stay submitted to each other, right? Let's get the next precept. Mark 10 and 8. Mark 10 and verse 8. Mark 10 and verse 8. All right, let's read this. Mark 10 and 8.
The book of Mark, chapter 10 and verse number 8. And the twain shall be one flesh. So then they are no more twain, but one flesh.
Right, man. The two people going to be one. And this is like, we love to go here for the people that believe in oneness or the Trinity. Like we say, bro, are they the same person? No, they're not. It's a figurative speech. So this is what it means by being one. It means that you guys are in unison together, man. You guys are in unity. Y'all agree that we're on the same page. We're committed to each other. Even sometimes y'all may disagree. Guess what? Even in your own soul, sometimes you disagree with yourself. You may do something, you be like, man, I shouldn't have done that. But you're still one being. Same thing in a marriage. Y'all can disagree and still be one. You're not supposed to be rent in two. You're not supposed to be broken in two. You're not supposed to be torn apart, right? When you tear something apart, guess what? You're going to lose some stuff, right? You're going to lose. People that take their dreadlocks out, guess what? Their locks out, they lose some hair taking that out, right? When you tear a sandwich, right? You may, some may fall on the ground. This piece may be bigger than this piece. So some things are not meant to be torn, right? Sometimes when you tear off a tag on some socks, you tear it off the wrong way. Now you got a big hole in one of the socks. Some things aren't meant to be torn, man. Let's read verse 9.
Verse number 9, what therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
When he says, let no man put asunder, he's talking about you, right? I know a lot of people, you may think he's talking about outsiders or people coming to get you, or that girl that keep flirting with your husband, or your husband that keep flirting with all these girls. No, he's talking about you. He's saying, blot out all the noise. And he's saying, you stay committed. Don't let man, he's talking about you. He's saying, you shouldn't tear it apart, man and woman. So husbands, guess what? This verse is talking about you. Don't let myself tear this apart. Women, guess what? It's talking about you. Don't let myself tear this apart. Even though, something may happen that I don't like necessarily, right? Now, this is, of course, save except for, adultery and, fornication. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, work it out, man. Work it out. Feelings fade, forgiveness. And so, and when you pray that you have the heart of forgiveness. Pray that you blot it out of that. The Most High blots it out of your memory. Pray that the Most High has you get over it and it's not that big of a deal to you anymore. You pray those things, the Most High God will do that. He'll take bitterness and take that taste out of your mouth, right? So let's get the next one. Ephesians 5 and 21. Ephesians 5 and 21. Let's read this one.
Ephesians 5 and verse 21. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God.
Right. Submitting yourselves one to another. A lot of people read over this verse not knowing that it's telling the husband as well to submit to his wife. How do we know that? We got to keep reading, right? This right here ended a thought right here in verse 20. This started a new thought. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. How do you do that? Let's read verse 22.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
Right? So wives, you got to submit to your husbands. Verse 23.
For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body.
Come on. Right? Keep reading.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
Right. So women, there could be times where the church, they was questioning Christ. Hey, are you sure this is right? But our forefathers, they did it a different way, But at the end of the day, they submitted to Christ's leadership. That's what the church did. They understood that, the Lord's dealing with this man. Right? Read this next verse.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
Right, so this is a continuation. So if you know about grammar, it was saying for each of them to submit themselves to each other. Then it went to the woman and said how she should submit. And now this is how the man, the husband, should submit, right? Saying to submit to love your wife, right? Even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. That's how Christ submitted to the church. He gave himself for it. That's how Christ submitted to the church. He loved the church. So that's part of your submission, husbands. You have to submit to your wife by doing these things, right? Let's read verse 26.
That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
Right. That's the only way that your union is going to be cleansed. That's the only way that you're going to be sanctified, is if that unity stays strong, what God put together, right? Let's get this last precept, 2 Corinthians 5 and 18. 2 Corinthians 5 and 18.
Con, this is 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 18. It says, and all things are of God, who hath reconciled us to himself by Jesus Christ, and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation.
Right. So God reconciled us. And that's what Christ came to do, was give us the ministry of reconciliation. So people ask, man, why did Christ come? To bring the nations back together, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, back to their God. So Christ literally came, the preaching of the gospel, what do the Christians call it in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? The Great Commission in Matthew, the Great Commission, all of that is the ministry of reconciliation, reconciling a people back to their God. And so that's what we're doing. And it starts at home first. That's why it says in the Bible to get your house in order. You get your house in order, then guess what? You get the nation in order, right? Even a black podcast, a so-called black podcast, African-American podcasts are saying, what's wrong with the black community? You got to be a hero in the house first before you could be a hero in the streets. So even our people that are not in the knowledge, they're starting to get it, man. It starts at home first. We got to keep the homes together and tight, and then our offspring will produce like-mindedness that will benefit the nation, man. So we got to stay together. And if you are going through a rough patch, okay, separate for some time and then be reconciled, man. But always be reconciled. We're in the ministry of reconciliation. So I hope that was edifying. Do the brothers have anything they want to say before we close it out?
Man,
mighty lesson.
Come on, man. Well, with that, you know what I'm saying? We want to say, man, I hope you guys have a peaceful, restful Sabbath day as we bring it in. And also, we are the hopeful elect. And like our big brothers say, if you're not gathering, you're scattering. You have something to say, Obadiah?
Nah, lie.
Yeah. So you're not gathering, you're scattering the flock, man. So gather together, O nation not desired. And we say, Shalom.